All right, Rob, let's get into some real NFL news here because I'm looking at this trade. It shouldn't be allowed. DeAndre Hopkins wakes up. He's a Chief. It's in exchange for a 5th-round pick that could be a 4th. Now, I know you've seen Hopkins a lot throughout your career. How will they use him, and what does he add to this offense?
You're right. It shouldn't be allowed, Kay. And I actually just learned about this trade literally 10 minutes ago when I was watching you in the A-Block and you and Hamilton were talking about it. I didn't see any news at all. So This is a surprise to me. So let me just think about it for a second. I think, like you said, it is unfair that the Chiefs, traded for him. They kind of needed a number one. A couple guys are out. And here's the thing, DeAndre Hopkins, hasn't been in the best situations on winning teams. But he's going to the Kansas City Chiefs, and the Kansas City Chiefs, especially with Coach Andy Reid, he knows how to utilize players in every which way and every aspect of the game. And that's what he's going to do with DeAndre Hopkins. I believe he's going to revive his career, and they're going to utilize him to his max potential. And the Kansas City Chiefs are going to be that much more dangerous now. And you're going to probably see him used in ways that he's never been used before, because that's what Patrick Mahomes can do, especially with Coach Andy Reid leading the way.
Well, you know what Mahomes and the Chiefs do? How does that skill set he has, which is kind of like that lob the ball up and I'll just go get it, how does that fit with, because have we seen, I guess, outside of Kelsey, have we seen Mahomes have that kind of player?
A little bit, I mean, not like a player like, DeAndre Hopkins, but he had Tyreek Hill in his career. He has plenty of other good receivers, but DeAndre Hopkins, I mean, he's a guy that can get open, down the field, and also he's a great guy that can get open on the short, intermediate routes as well. So you're kind of bringing a full package receiver to the game with DeAndre Hopkins, and I would say Patrick Mahomes is probably licking his chops right now. There's no doubt about this, and it just makes the Chiefs that much better.
So the Rams, reportedly, they've called multiple teams about trading Cooper Kupp. I know we kind of just alluded to that, which I think, all these wide receivers are getting traded. So after seeing the Hopkins trade, is there a team that you think that Cooper Kupp should land with?
Well, if Cooper Kupp is going to get traded from the Los Angeles Rams, and that kind of, raises a question that McVay doesn't really believe, or that team doesn't, the Rams organization doesn't really believe they can win this year. Because if you can win this year, why would you get rid of Cooper Kupp, your best player, on the field, on the offensive side of the ball, best skill player? That doesn't make sense. So if they do ship him, they're kind of tanking this year. And if he does go somewhere, I don't really know where. It would be weird, kind of weird. I feel like he's going to stay with the Rams. This is just all talk.
I was hoping you'd pop on. Let me chew on this one for me. They're 1-4, right? So I think that's where they're okay. We're one. It's a weird NFC West for sure. Sorry, the Rams are 2-4. But I'm looking at the Bucs. I'm looking at your former team. Chris Godwin, who we know and love, he's dealing with an injury. We don't know with Mike Evans a couple weeks. I don't know. I would think Bucs potentially a fit for Cooper Kupp, or I would say maybe Commanders would be interesting.
I would say the Commanders are more likely of a team to trade for Cooper Kupp if he's actually available and on the market. The Commanders just put up, 40 points, versus the Panthers. That's the Panthers, but it doesn't matter. They're still an NFL team, an NFL defense, but it could just help Jaden Daniels out that much more.
Steelers? Would you rather see him as a Commander or which would be I know, Steelers is good.
I like the Steelers. I went to school in Pittsburgh my senior year in high school, so I know what it's like to be, part of that Steeler nation. I understand, what Pittsburgh, what the Steelers mean to the city of Pittsburgh. And if they got, Cooper Kupp, let me tell you, with Russell Wilson playing the way he did, throwing that ball up, lobbing it, up to make a catchable ball for his receivers to go make a play, I feel like that would, boost the Steelers. And I think it would be the best fit as well. You're right. The Steelers, if they can grab them, let me tell you, Steeler Nation would be going nuts.
I don't know that this is how it works, but it seems just simple to me so the Chiefs make this big move, right? that's a huge move. They were adding somebody whose skill set is really going to fit this offense. It's going to take them where they needed to make it, right? They can't have Samaje Perine be the leading receiver. Like they needed to make it. How, if you're in the AFC, all you're trying to do is sink their battleship. Like, how do we have to man up then? We have to, what do we do? So if you're the Steelers, you're like, yeah, we're looking good. We just took down the Jets on Sunday Night Football. Like, we're rolling, our record's great. We're going to keep this going. And then I look at a team like the Ravens, like, what a counterpunch to that. I mean, Buffalo adds Amari Cooper. I think he'll get better and better. He's a number one. And then if you're the Ravens, like, isn't that just like the counterpunch to the Chiefs to add and trade for a guy like Kupp? It might be.
You're talking the Ravens trading for Kupp? I mean, I think the Ravens offense is set. I think they have too many weapons. I would say going to the Steelers would make a lot more sense, but I don't think the Ravens would be, wise to do that. I mean, you got Mark Andrews, Isaiah Likely, you got Flowers, and you got Derrick Henry. I mean, Derrick Henry barely touched the ball on Monday Night Football because they were already, doing so well with the offensive game plan that they had and already spreading the ball up, within the, skilled players. And Derrick Henry wasn't even part of it until like the second half, and they were dominating all over the field. So adding Cooper Kupp might be too many weapons. And that's such a thing to have too many weapons, because then players kind of start, getting disappointed they're not getting the ball and they've been there for a while.
I was going to say maybe they should trade for that tight end that you got, Rich Russo.
Oh, Rich Russo. I mean, I'm hearing about Rich Russo everywhere I go. And let me tell you, I sold it so well that people are trying to pick him up in fantasy.
That's not bad. You're just a good actor. Move over, Leif.
Thank you.
Gronk.
I'm like Leif. I'm the best actor out there.
There we go. All right, now let's get into one serious topic. We got to get into the Patriots.
All right.
Where would you like to start? They lose to the Jags. Mayo calls the team a soft football team across the board. Belichick's taken his pinata swings. Tom made his opinion known. What's your opinion?
Well, I didn't hear Tom's opinion. I saw Coach Belichick's opinion about it. I saw what Jerod Mayos say, calling his team soft. But I kind of take it with a grain of salt. I feel like he was trying to light a fire underneath his team. And when he was saying that, I think he was speaking as a whole within the organization. I mean, you just don't call your team soft and then not include yourself. And I think that's what he was doing, was including the coaches and just the whole organization as a whole, because it starts at the very top. And they just need a spark. They need something. And if that's, what Mayo sees that needed to be done, was saying that after the game. And let me tell you, they kind of were soft that game. I mean, they weren't running the ball, and on top of it, the Jaguars ran the ball 18 straight times at one point in the third and fourth quarter combined, and ran it right down their throat to end the game. So I feel like it was just to light a spark underneath the team, and you go down with the ship and you cruise with the ship. So I don't look too far into it with those comments.
It's a 1-6 team. Worse than I thought they'd be. I thought they'd be better than they are. But is this what's the lesson in this? Are we preaching patience? Are you surprised? I mean, this wasn't a team that was going to compete this year. I don't know why everyone's thinking different.
Exactly. This isn't a team that was never on schedule to compete. On top of it, too, talking about their, defense being soft, they also have so many injuries on the defensive side of the ball. I mean, in the safety department, on the defensive line, linebackers, just overall, that just does not help out either. Their run stoppers been out for a little bit as well. So to have that, I mean, it's a difficult situation for Coach Jerod Mayo. And on top of it, they weren't favored in any games this whole entire season. So winning that first game off the bat was already a successful season, if you kind of look at it, if they were favored or not throughout the whole year. So and kind of set the expectations to win more games when they beat the Cincinnati Bengals as well. I mean, they might as well have lost that game as well if you really think about it, because everyone got too excited right off the bat. But I feel like it's all about patience, and you got to see what they do, at the end of the season to, start gaining momentum, go into the offseason, spend that money, fix that offensive line, bring a number one in, and, go from there and see how they keep progressing. You got to keep progressing.
I feel like Mayo, not that he was thrown to the wolves, but he sort of had a lot in his lap, in this transition, I sort of feel I don't know if you feel different. I feel like about him what I feel about Jacoby Brissett. Like, it's a lot. My expectations are empathetic almost because it's a lot to deal with, and I think Mayo's in that situation. So I guess I'm asking, like, I mean, you're basically saying the team is soft, the defense is soft. He's not saying anything that's not true, but I guess should he say it? Is he the kind of person, knowing him, is he the kind of person who's going to stop making comments like that going forward, or is this just how Mayo is?
You know, I would necessarily say that, you know, he's probably going to learn from this situation as well, because when you're a rookie, you know, head coach, you're a young rookie head coach as well, you're definitely going to have many learning lessons. And I feel like that was one of them, because it's kind of a distraction as well, you know, with what he said. Maybe he didn't know that it was going to be this much, you know, that much talked about throughout the whole week. And then when it's talked about for this long throughout the whole week, it kind of starts taking from the team. It starts taking away from practice. It starts, you know, taking away from the guys. And that's not what it's about. So I feel like, you know, Coach Mayo is going to tone it down a little bit now after those comments and use it as a learning lesson.
If you Google him right now, it is not cool. It is hot seat. He's going to get fired. It's that. I mean, to me, that's the opposite of patience. Knowing Kraft the way that you know Kraft, knowing whatever that situation is with Mayo, like long-term outlook, there's no juice to that, right?
I don't think there's juice to that at all. I mean, you got to give him another opportunity next year, and then maybe possibly if it just progresses or keeps going forward, you got to read out the situation, whatever it is, but you got to give him another opportunity. I mean, you didn't hire him for no reason. Obviously, you see some special traits in Mayo. He knows the game of football very well, and the opportunity that, you know, he went into was, you know, not that great. You know, I mean, offensive side, defensive side of the football, it's all about what he does this offseason. It's all about, I would say as well, how his team does from here on out. Are they competitive?
Are they buying in?
Are they going to win a game or two? Are players turning on him? You know, if he can keep that locker room going, then that says a lot, and that's what needs to happen as well.
I just want to, I think I'm not apologizing for him or anything. I just think like with with what Coach said, respectfully, like Coach had, you know, you don't have Judon, you don't have Barmore. Like, it's a different team. There's different equipment. So to compare it was I don't know. I didn't really get it. So yeah, I think you're right to like keep an eye on it. They got the Jets. You hate the Jets. The Jets don't look great. They didn't look great against the Steelers. Is there a world? Look at this line. Is there a world that Pats upset the Jets?
Hey, Kay, remember, I don't hate the Jets. I always just played it up, okay? And now you're saying I hate the Jets after we came to agreement that I don't hate the Jets.
I'm sorry.
You kind of like that I hated the Jets.
I do. I like when you hate the Jets.
Dislike the Jets. Hate is a strong word. We dislike the Jets over here. All right, we can say that. Dislike the Jets. But
who wins?
I don't think there's a world where the Patriots win this game. I mean, the Jets, they got too much firepower. They got too much experience. And they already kind of dominated the Patriots on that Thursday night football game like no other a couple weeks back. So I just see the Jets, you know, getting back on track. You know, they need to get back on track. So I see them winning.
Rodgers dealing with a hamstring injury, Jets reporting right now.
Doing what?
I don't know. Addition to the knee.
Why does he have a hamstring injury?
Rodgers dealing with a hamstring injury right now, too. Not great. Okay, we're going to take a short break here. He's picking the Jets. I love that you're picking the Jets. We have two more things to ask you in the break before we let you go. Rob Gronkowski, the real Rob Gronkowski, is here. We'll be back in just a second. I got to ask you about National Tight Ends Day, okay? Because I'd love to know which, in honor of that, and it's Sunday, do you have any tight ends that you think are going to have big games? Give me a couple tight ends or at least one that you think will have a big game on Sunday.
All right. Well, this week, I like, you know, I don't know who I really like that's coming through. I don't even know what year he really is yet. It's Tucker Kraft on the Green Bay Packers.
Okay.
I mean, you saw his touchdown catch last week, how he dove for it and back to the end zone and got his knees in. I mean, that was really impressive what he did there. And he's coming on. He's coming on for Jordan Love. Look at that stiff arm. He's a beast. He runs hard. I really like him. You know, I don't even know what year this guy is.
Second.
I don't even. He's a second-year player?
Yeah.
That's why I don't know much about him.
Yeah, he's second-year player, but I was just looking at it. So his stat, 9 catches for 134 yards, 3 touchdowns in his last 3 games. So that makes a lot of sense. Packers at Jags, as you're seeing, FanDuel Sportsbook, 4.5-point favorites. Love that. Now let's get to the real. Let's get to the Danny last night. I didn't watch it, but I'm getting texts where I prepare. I mean, they literally apparently stole the show last night. If this was on FanDuel Sportsbook, I would say they're going to win this thing, Gronk. What is this?
I would say they're going to win this thing, too. Now, what is he? I didn't see it last night, but I always watch the replay at least on YouTube or something or wherever I can watch the replay.
Okay, the dance they did last week, I was seeing everywhere. It was viral. It was everywhere. And I guess this is what it says. It's a jazz Deadpool Wolverine-inspired dance routine set to end things bye, bye, bye. I mean, look at our boy Danny. Let's go.
Yeah, he looks good, and that's right up his alley, dressing up as Deadpool as well. I mean, Danny's a character, and he's always ready for the action, but, like, you can just tell he's more relaxed. You know, he has the rhythm, he has the body, he has, you know, the ability to handle, you know, all the circumstances that are thrown at him. Yeah. He just needed to relax a little bit, and he looks a lot more relaxed week in and week out with the facial expressions. And Danny, he's a guy that's all in when he's doing something. So he's going to get better week in and week out, and you can tell with his improvements every time he steps out there on the dance floor.
I don't even know who else is in it. I don't know, but I think he's going to win this thing. I think football players have a knack for this, the hard work, the work ethic. I think he's going to win.
Can we bet on FanDuel or what? Is there,
it's a good question.
You know, a side bet on the app or something?
Hey, Harrison. Hamilton.
Dancing with the Stars? Hamilton, where can we bet Danny to win it all? Hamilton, you there?
I don't see any FanDuel odds on Danny right now. Yeah,
there should be.
There absolutely should be.
All right, Rob, you're the best. Hope you loved Lace. We'll talk to you next week.